Hey, what's happening, y'all? Matt here, back with another guitar video. So just like I had teased in my last video, I've been working on modding out a Telecaster style guitar. So let's take a look at what we've got. So what I've got for this video is this guitar right here. This is a Vintage Brand V72FTB. So V72 is like the thin line Tele style or thin line T style. We're not allowed to call it Tele style, T style. So we've got the F hole there, and FTB stands for flame top burst. So you can see that this has got a beautiful flame top on it. We've got a mini hum in the neck and a single coil, just T-style pickup in the bridge. Vintage does have a different version of this guitar that has two humbuckers. So we've got the V72FTB and the V72HFTB, H standing for humbucker. Now, I was able to get a great deal on this through work because this was one of our B stocks. So it's got a little bit of a finish flaw, kind of over here in the cutaway. There's a little dot of a hole in the fingerboard, and the neck alignment wasn't really great. It needed a shim in order to get the neck alignment just right. But all that said, it's a great guitar, and Laura and I have joked for a while before I got this that if I was going to play a Tele, this would be the Tele I would play as a single cut guy instead of a T-style guy. That flame top and the burst really sells me, and it's got a little bit of a burst on the back. We've got a maple neck with I don't know for sure if this is Indian Laurel or Rosewood fingerboard, probably Indian Laurel, but great feeling fingerboard. I believe these are medium jumbo frets. We've got a Graphtec nut, Wilkinson hardware, and you can see even on the bridge we've got the pressed steel bridge plate and then the brass saddles. So really nice guitar. But you know me, I like to mod everything. I'm always trying to test things and try different stuff. So of course I took it apart, did my own thing to it, replaced the pickups, replaced the electronics. Normally it doesn't, it's your normal, three-way switch with master volume and master tone. I put in the mini toggle switch, and I'll go into what all that is here in a minute. I did get some footage months ago of me going through this guitar with the original electronics, just so we could kind of compare and contrast. It was more me just testing stuff out. So the tone that I've got set is kind of what I was looking for whenever I grabbed this guitar, not necessarily what would be ideal for a test. So before we talk about what mods I did to this guitar, let's kind of roll back to that footage from months ago and see what I got at the time when I was testing everything out. And so for this test, and we'll see how this works. This might just be how I test guitars moving forward, so that I'm getting good recordings before and after. But I've created a couple different tracks here in Pro Tools. I'm not actually recording anything, as you can see. I'm just using it as a pass-through, basically. And coming out of my audio interface into a little handy recorder thing that then I've got a line out going to the camera. So that just makes editing way, way smoother. But I've just got a mono audio track here that the DI is going into with an amplitube on it. And I'm kind of doing a Brad Paisley kind of setup here. Putting a Brea in the bridge on this thing, so why not? So I've got a Z-Rec, then I've got a tube screamer, and a compressor. And then over here I've got a delay going into a reverb, and then going into our speaker emulation with the 57, an 87, and a couple 87s in the room. So pretty straightforward. I'm not really doing a whole lot other than that. Then I've got my dialogue channel here, since I'm using all this as a pass-through. And yeah, so let's see what we get. Okay, first up, bridge pickup. Next up, middle position, bridge and neck. And last but not least, the neck pickup. See, like those pickups are pretty decent. The Wilkinson stuff is pretty good for the most part. Trev has a couple different series, a few different series actually. The M series tends to be the cheaper, more entry-level series of pickups, and then he's got his R series, which is like his more boutique, period-accurate type of pickups. So the pickups in the new Silvertone 1446 are Wilkinson pickups, but they are Trev's R series, and they are his take on the old original Seth Lover design P19 pickups that were mini humbuckers. So that's neither here nor there. That's just a thing. So the original pickups in this are the M series. Electronics are pretty basic. I mean, just your standard 3-way blade switch, master volume, master tone. But it's not that anymore. So let's talk about what I did to this thing. Of course, I put my strap locks on, because I put Schaller strap locks on all my guitars. And my main thing was changing out the pickups. So the Wilkinson pickups are fine. They do a good job, but I like changing out pickups. I like to try different things and compare sounds and see if it makes any sort of difference. So I put a Seymour Duncan SM-1N in the neck, and I put the Seymour Duncan Brad Paisley signature La Brea pickup in the bridge. So going for, I mean, if I'm going to build a telly, I want it to be twangy. I want to do the telly thing. And For me, when it comes to telly players, like Brad Paisley is immediately where my brain goes. He is the quintessential telly player for my brain. You know, growing up on 90s country and listening to, you know, Brad and Pat Green and Brooks and Dunn and all those guys growing up, that's where my mind goes. Now, I'm not necessarily a big fan of the Paisley aesthetic on guitars, but I am a fan of the flame top aesthetic. I mean, I know it's kind of smudgy because I've been playing it, but oh, so pretty. It's so pretty. The camera's focusing on me, not the guitar. Look at the guitar, camera. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Ooh. Give me more of that. Control-wise, switched out the plate, the control plate that had three-way switch, master volume, master tone, for a control plate that had a blade switch slot and holes for 3 potentiometers. The downside to that, what I found out when I actually tried to make that happen, is you have to use mini pots if you're going to use 3 potentiometers in that control plate. There's just not enough space between the holes to have 3 full-size potentiometers. So that's where I put in a mini toggle. And the mini toggle, all it does is adds a resistor into the circuit, so that if I'm in the bridge position and I hit that, then it'll see 250 kilo ohm pots instead of 500 kilo ohm pots. That's the entire purpose of that. And honestly, I don't know that makes that big of a difference. If it's audible, let me know when we go through tones and stuff, because I can barely hear it. If hear it at all. Like, I'm kind of worried that what I am hearing is just in my brain, because I know I did a thing, and so I'm anticipating it doing something. But anyway, I kept the standard 3-way switch. I was originally going to do a 5-way switch and do some different stuff, but that didn't work out. So stuck with the 3-way, and then put push pulls on my master volume and master tone, with the push pull on the volume knob disengaging a treble bleed switch, and the push pull on the tone pot changing between 2 different capacitor values. So those are all the mods that I did to this to make it my Matt Jones custom telly. So with all that said, let's check out some tones. So I believe when I did that footage a few months ago with the original electronics, I was really just playing some Chris Stapleton Parachute. So I guess to compare, let's just start with that. And we'll go through the different pickups and see what we got, and then we'll start adjusting controls and seeing what that does. But everything is turned all the way up at the moment, and we'll start with the bridge pickup. Cool. Let's move to middle position, which would be both the neck and the bridge. And last but not least, let's move up to the neck pickup. put it, now let's just kind of play around. Let's see what we get. All right, so I'm gonna put it in middle position. What happens if I roll the volume back? Move back to the bridge. And so that's with the treble bleed enabled. Now, if I pull this up, so you can definitely hear the difference with that treble bleed on versus off. So that treble bleed really helps me to keep those highs, keep things nice and sparkly as I roll the volume back to kind of clean things up. Now that's with the tube screamer still going. If I really wanted to clean it up, I could turn that off. Let's do that real quick. Okay, so now we can hear it without that tube screamer on. Okay, yeah, so without that tube screamer on, we can really hear the... really sparkly and jangly, and I can roll that volume back, well, without with it already being so clean, I don't have much need to roll the volume back to clean it up, but we roll the volume back. Interesting, right? I can see that treble bleed switch being really crucial for players who use rolling back their volume a lot as a means of cleaning up their tone without messing with pedals and amps and stuff. I mean, if you've got a nice, tube amp and you just, like I've got the Vox AC15 in the amp closet. This thing sounds great out of that. And I can just, with that treble bleed, I can just roll things back a little bit and it gets nice and clean and sparkly. And then if I want it to, sound a little meaner, I can just roll that volume back up and get some cool stuff there. So let's look at my little toggle switch here. So it's interesting that I really don't hear that much of a difference. Now, if I move to the bridge pickup, that's specifically where that should be making the most difference. Now, with the toggle switch up, I almost think it sounds a little bit darker, but honestly, I'm not entirely sure that's doing much of anything. Could be a really good producer switch, though. Matt, that sounds really good, but can you make it a little bit more blue? Sure, boss. How's that? Oh, perfect. Yeah. But let's see, if I put it on the neck, I don't know. What do y'all think? Like, can y'all hear a difference between the two things with the adding in the resistor? Because I'm not really hearing anything. But another thing we can check out is this push-pull on the tone pot. Let's just put it in the middle for right now. I love the middle position tone on this. Anyway, I'm getting distracted doodling. So, of course, if we pull this up while it's rolled all the way forward, we don't really hear much difference. So we'll hear that once we actually roll this back, and you'll hear the greatest difference when it's all the way rolled back. So this is pulled up, push down. So you can hear when it's pushed down, we get just a little bit more high end. That frequency roll off point is just a little bit further up. So let's see, let's move it just a little bit more into the middle. There's a little bit of a difference when you're kind of in the middle area, but not near as much. It's got some nice resonance to it. And that neck pickup on a clean tone, it's got some nice jazziness to it. Pop that down so we're not losing as many highs. Okay, interesting. Let's throw that tube screamer back on and see what we get there. Okay, so I turned the tube screamer back on and I turned up the drive a bit and increased the input into amplitude. Get a little bit more rockin' tone. Yeah, we get more of that rockin' tone with the bridge pickup. Anyway, like most guitarists, I could sit here and just doodle for ages. Roll that all the way back. And so that's about the gist of it. And we're back. Hidey-ho there, neighbor. To all of you who are also 90s TV show Home Improvement fans, you'll get that. If not, inside joke. Don't worry about it. So that's what we got with this thing. I think it turned out really good. I'm really happy with it. I'm sorry it took me so freaking long to get a video together. Work has been absolutely crazy. And here recently, we just did the, I don't know if you call it a release or re-release or whatever, of the new Silvertone 1446. So Silvertone 1446 back in the day was like one of the flagship Silvertone guitars. It was their hollow body with the Seth Lover design P19 Benny humbuckers in it. Very pretty guitar. And so since the company I work for bought Silvertone, they're going through and the Silvertone catalog and finding guitars that they can kind of bring up to date while still remaining true to the essence of the original guitar. It's really tricky, and I know there's been some discussion, especially around the new 1446, because there's some things that they changed for good reason, right? So one of the things is the original was a full hollow body. Now, the new one we've got out now is a semi-hollow. Functionally, a semi-hollow is going to work better. You're not going to have as many issues with feedback and with the structure not being as sound. You're not going to, all that kind of stuff. And then the original body, I think, was like a masonite or something. It was like a composite wood. New body is mahogany. So there's these things that were done with a purpose in mind. And I wasn't in charge of product development, or I didn't have anything to do with product development aside from my boss saying, Matt, here's some pickup rings. They're not fitting right. Go file them down until they fit the body like they're supposed to and bring them back to me. So I got to help with some little stuff like that. It was pretty cool. But yeah, the reception has been really good. So there's a lot that I can't necessarily say here on my channel without having my boss like involved and present, because I don't want to overstep the bounds of my authority, and I like my job. I'd like to keep it. But what I can say is it's been pretty cool to be involved in getting this out. I can tell you that we are all working really hard to make sure that those guitars you get your hands on are primo. Me personally, I consider my role as a quality control technician to be basically an extra layer of give a crap between the factory and you guys. And the more layers of give a crap we have, the better the guitars that go into your hands end up being. So I'm pretty proud of being that extra layer of give a crap. And not perfect. I screw up just like everybody else, but I work really hard to make sure that I'm doing my due diligence and making sure that the guitars that go out meet the standards that they need to meet. So neither here nor there. That's just the thing that the 1446s came in, and then the orders hit, and we got swamped. There's 3 different ones. There's one with the sunburst and a trapeze tailpiece. There's 2 black ones, one with the trapeze tailpiece and one with the Bigsby vibrato. I think that we're already just out of the vibrato. I mean, they sold fast. And there are some big players that I know got their hands on it. Again, I don't know what I'm at liberty to tell you guys, but I do know for a fact that there's a couple to a few really, really well-known and big players who have got their hands on that and have had really good things to say. So that's pretty cool. That's all kept me very busy. And then on a personal note, my personal album, Lights, is done. I've got it recorded, mixed, mastered. The CDs are packaged, ready to go. All I'm waiting for is the copyrights. So that's like the most annoying, frustrating thing, is you get everything ready, you work your butt off for years, get everything together, ready to go, then you submit it to the government and sit on your hands for 2 to 3 months while they decide whether or not to give you a little check mark that says, yeah, you got the copyrights. So that's where I'm at on that. So I'm looking forward to getting that out and released, and moving on to other projects and seeing what else I can get done. I do have some more guitar projects in mind. In fact, let's see, do I want to give you a sneak preview? I can give you a little peek at one that I've got going. I wanted to get this one done first, but now that this one's done, I can move on to my next project. Let me show you that. So this is a Vintage Brand B100 MGHB. So we've got mahogany body, a maple top, like an actual 1/4-inch maple top. You can barely see, barely, I don't know if you can see it, the slight lightening of the color kind of over here. But anyway, this is another one that I snagged from work for a super deal because it's B-stock. It's got some issues along here where there's some finish, like micro cracks. There's some places that it's starting to delaminate kind of on the neck. The top looks great though. And there's something rattling around in there. I don't know what it is. I've got to take everything out because I've already opened the control cavity and it's not in there. So there's something rolling around in the chambered body. So I got to figure that out. But the cool thing is, what I also managed to get was we had some of those new 1446s that arrived with cracked necks, and so I was able to take the pickups and buy these for a deal from my employer to get those Wilkinson R Series P19 type mini humbuckers to put in this guitar. And it worked out because, like, these are not supposed to have this exterior mounting ring. These are supposed to be, like, the pickup is supposed to be, it's a P90 route, and the mini humbucker is supposed to be in a little inset P90 mounting ring. And for some reason, this one just doesn't. It's just got an exterior mounting ring, which is perfect for what I need it for, but it means it's going to be kind of hard to sell this one as just a stock. But good for me. It's shiny. It's shining blue on my face. But yeah, so my next project is going to be to take the pickups out of this, replace them with those Wilkinson R Series from the 1446, and maybe redo some of the electronics. I'm not sure. I might put in some treble bleeds. What I'm really thinking about doing is doing a phase flip on the neck pickup. But I haven't entirely gotten all that lined out yet. But I just got in all the parts to start on that. I'm also thinking about maybe doing some live streaming on that project, and first doing like a full setup and doing a fret level and fret dressing and all the usual like techie stuff on this as it is stock to get it playable, because it needs a fret level. It's fretting out in places. So doing that, and then maybe doing some filming like I did with this one, filming it stock, and then coming back and then doing more live streaming of like replacing the electronics and doing all the upgrades and mods, and then filming more like film video of what it sounds like after. I don't know. It's a thought I'm kicking around. Let me know in the comments if that's anything that you would be interested in participating in, as I'm trying to plan my time and get things together. But that's all for this video. Thanks for tuning in and watching my dumb videos about weird projects that I like to do, working on guitars and making music. But I appreciate your interest and your engagement and your existence. But that's it for now. We'll call it there. But thanks again. I appreciate you. You're awesome. And have a good one.